It's very interesting because a lot of, I think, Lizzo's fans migrated over to Chapel Roan. Lizzo had the same kind of fan base Chapel Roan has now, which in a way could be potential foreshadowing for how Chapel Roan's career goes if Chapel Roan doesn't get more media literate and media savvy. Because seriously, Chapel Roan, if some story comes out about how she was abusive to some people in her personal circle, ooh, that could be the end of it. Because Chapel Roan right now is more, her music is more of a brand and I think an art that's enjoyable in itself. I mean, people do really enjoy her music, but I think her music to the general public just stands more for something than a enjoyable thing in itself. Me personally, I'm not the biggest fan of Chapel Roan's music, though I think she is significantly more talented than a lot of the other mainstream artists out there. I'm sorry, Beyonce, you're amazing, but Cowboy Carter was just not your best album. That's the other important thing. Right now, when your music is kind of in between mainstream, people just love it across the board, across many different kinds of tastes, and more like an anthem for something, your brand is so much more important, even if it is in terms of sustaining your career, even if it's not as lucrative. And I think Lizzo is a perfect example about that. Lizzo is talented, but again, people came to her more for, well, what her music stood for rather than music herself. I can only name one song that was popular, Juice, that's it. And that's the problem, is because Lizzo, well, she, to me, always was more of a TikTok singer, songwriter, musician lady, which is bad. And I was around in 2018, 2019 when she was popping off on TikTok and people were loving her. But again, music that gets popular on TikTok, well, you gotta move past then music that is more compatible with TikTok than just the general public who doesn't even care much about social media and social media trends. The same thing I think happened with Lil Nas X. I'm so heartbroken Lil Nas X faded out because, well, he was super talented. Old Town Road is an amazing song. It is just outright an amazing song. Even though Billy Ray Cyrus sucks, I mean, thank you for bringing us Old Town Road. That was just amazing. The problem is Lil Nas X continued to use TikTok as his primary platform for music, especially with Montero and other such songs, simply for the matter that it seemed to be working for him. And, you know, he was still popping off and doing well because of TikTok in 2020 and 2021. And that's when I think TikTok was definitely at its peak, or one of its peaks, because, you know, it was really keeping his name in the mainstream. But even at TikTok's peak, when TikTok was the hottest thing, still, it's a big mistake to just keep relying on it. He had to have built a fan base outside of TikTok somewhere else, which he didn't. That's also Lizzo's problem. Again, she had another viral TikTok trend with the 2 shots in my cup thing, I forget what you call it, and that's it. Nothing else. Because the music was just, again, more just something to play along to, like play a character along to, because the music described a specific kind of character. Again, why this music like that does well with TikTok trends and dance numbers versus something you can enjoy in itself. So, and then of course the lawsuits came out about Lizzo, and that was it. Why? Because it was never really about the music itself. It was more about the brand and the kind of character you could be within the world of her music. But then she wasn't actually that character, so, you know, it's almost like how we know in reality shows the reality isn't real. But with someone like the scandals Lizzo had, it's like, oh, the reality isn't reality. Uh-oh. Reminds me similar of, that YouTuber Zoe Sugg, when she said she wrote a novel and she got a ghostwriter to do it. I mean, because the parasocial relationship she had with her fans, finding out that she didn't actually put the effort into it was just a big scandal in itself, even though many celebrities who go into the novel business use ghostwriters. But anyway, I digress. So Lizzo has tried to make a comeback by pretty much, again, because her old self got into so many scandals and that old persona is just not usable anymore. Let's see how she's building up her new self with, of course, a dramatic weight loss. You know, that does the dramatic weight losses because we love seeing these Biggest Loser success stories. It brings people back to the mainstream and we almost forgive them for their fast vices. Adele, well, Adele didn't have any vices or anything, but damn, people were obsessed and all. So, let's see how this goes. I despise Jay Shetty. I've always hated him, even when he was getting popular on Instagram early on. And it's just interesting that I believe Lizzo's old self would have also hated Jay Shetty. But now the toxic positivity brand is what she has to rely on to hopefully so people forget what she had a fall from grace for. So without any further ado, let's just go ahead and now listen to react to this podcast episode.
You were standing in a sound bowl. I have not been to that class yet. I have not seen that before. So what am I doing wrong?
Well, you don't have my mama and my sister.
That laugh is so fake. I'm sorry. Like, again, she doesn't want to be there. She just knows she has to because she has to pivot to a new audience since the one that built her up, they're like, okay, bye. You know, there's other semi-talented people making quirky music that we can just kind of imagine our dream lives along, like Chapel Roan's Pink Pony Club world, basically.
Christmas gift from them. I remember on Christmas Day, they got me this, it was like a huge thing that they dragged in, it was wrapped, and I was like, what could y'all have possibly gotten me in this huge, and they were like, we're so excited, and I unwrapped it, and I was like, what, is this like a water bowl?
Even the way she's presenting herself is just very different. She's just trying to be more like down to earth. Like, look, I'm a chill person and all. Very much from how I think her older self was very like up playing her, like being extra is the right word, you know? Like the time the Jumbotron came at her at a game and she pulled her pants down to show her butt off. Like, this Lizzo's very like, you know, just like, you know, let's just have a conversation, be calm and all. I mean, you know, she's not talking differently or putting on an accent or anything, but I just the way she's just kind of delivering.
Feet, like footprint, big feet prints in it. And they're like, you stand in it. And I was like, and then what? And it's like, and then you sound bath. And I was like, this is actually wild.
Like, even the outfit, isn't it just suburban mom? I found the outfit even so strange. Though actually, no, wait, no, I take it back. You know, I'm not like an expert in her style, but I actually, in 2021, encountered somebody who was designing for Lizzo. And he was designing these bodycon suits and stuff. He said, like, one, he was inspired by, like, a beetle. So, like very, like, shell-like stuff, just things that showed off everything, basically. And now look at this. It's just, like, suburban mom picking up her kids.
A really emotional day. I was very close to crash out. I dragged it outside, took my shoes off, put my feet in the earth for a second, stood in it and just rang it. And I was like, I still don't feel better. I still don't feel better. And then I hit it. I kept hitting it. And I was like, oh, this is kind of fun. And it changed my day. I brought out my other bowls and I sat and I just hummed and played them. And it literally changed my day. And I was pessimistic about it. I was like, this is not going to work.
And that was the first time you tested it out?
It was the first time I tested since Christmas, I tested the big one out.
Wow.
Yeah, I was shocked.
Yeah, because I've never seen one with footprints. Like, I've never seen one that you stand in. I've seen ones that...
It seems like, again, this story was selected just because she's just trying to show off that she's a different person. She's like, oh, I'm not like that extra crazy lady who was all about showing my body and pandering to the very stereotypical SJW queer kind of crowd. I'm actually more like for, well, the trad wives I can be kind of thing. You know, I'm all vibes and chill, millennial trad wife kind of thing.
Lie down and they play them at your head, or sometimes they come and put a crystal on your chest.
Yeah.
Like, I've been in those and I love them. We actually did one with my team. We do a team retreat every year, and we did one last year, but we did it outdoors. And we had this amazing sound healer come and lead it. And when we woke up, we all could see, like, shooting stars.
Wow.
And like, what is going on? And then we realized it was Neuralink. It was Elon Musk's, like, you know, it was just this thing going on. Yeah, whatever it is. I can't remember what it is.
Can you believe Lizzo, her old music, which got viral on TikTok, and her TikTok trends were being used by, again, very much people who were very, I think, into social justice causes. Now she's fawning over Elon Musk and all. And Jay Shetty's voice is so weird to me. Not because, like, it feels like their accent is obviously British, but it feels like it tries to push more an Indian accent, but it just fails. So it like peaks out a little bit, then comes down. I don't know. I've always found him so weird.
Such an amazing experience to have sound heal you in that frequency. Did it finally work when you were standing in it? Like,
my ankles started itching, and I was like, what's going on? I feel like ants were crawling on my ankles, and I kept scratching at them, and I was like, oh, it's awakening me. It's so funny because I host these I call them ass rams once a year. So it's like these little retreats that I do for all of the Black women in my life that I love and I care about, and it's like an emotional and spiritual reset. And we do sound baths in the morning and we do sound baths at night. And this one time I was laying there and I like allowed myself to really just like go, and it was so trippy. We all saw.
I feel like she really wants to, because again, her fan base before they abandoned her so quickly. She wants to entice rich people for I don't even know what. You know, she had a plus size clothing, what is it? A plus size shapewear line called Yitty, kind of similar to Kim Kardashian's Skins. I don't know what happened to that now.
Thing. I was like, because she was asking everyone, they were like, yeah, I saw like pink and purple. And it was like, yeah, I saw pink and purple. And it was like, and I saw a galaxy. And it was like, I saw a galaxy. So we all kind of like, it's real.
Yes,
like
yes.
I have too much proof that there's something else going on out here. And it's all kind of guided by vibration.
Yeah.
It's all led by vibration.
Absolutely. And on a very, very base level, if someone hasn't tried it out, A, they should try it out. And B, it's like we all know that sound makes us feel a certain way. There's songs from your past that make you feel nostalgic. There's music that can make you cry instantly. There's sounds that make you feel thoughtful and reflective. We all now work to lo-fi beats.
I think she has a new album out. I don't know what is this for a new album? I'm not sure actually, but I wonder what it's like. Is it anything like her old music? Which was, again, all about shake that ass.
Okay, girl, like, oh, we're on a vibe. I'm like, no, you know your heart is beating constantly. Your blood.
But she was used to be we're all vibes and all. Like, this is just like, again, she's trying to get a whole new audience. I guess Elon Musk's crowd, people who like to do drugs in the forest. And hey, maybe she's trying to go after Grimes people. Maybe that's who she's trying to get now.
Blood is coursing through your veins and you're like, made mostly of water. So when your heart is beating, it's sending a vibration through your entire body. Like if you sit still enough, you can feel like the vibration. So it's like everything is constantly vibrating and you can vibrate high and you can vibrate low and you actually have the power to control that.
Like since when was she actually ever interested or known for this kind of stuff? Like when? Like never. This is all new and all after a weight loss and again after her basically going silent because of all the scandals that happened with the lawsuits and everything. Whatever happened to those and all? Like, and the blind items were like, basically people just, was devastated that, you know, her, everything dropped, her fans went away and all. And again, it wasn't really about the music, it was more about like the ideas the music perpetuated.
And once I learned that, I was like, oh, it's like a cheat code to life, to existing.
So well said. I love that. And did the playing of the sound bowls come naturally to you?
I can play anything.
Wow.
I found that like I can like if I lick my finger and I have a crystal glass, I can make a sound. I think that's just one of my gifts is that like when I was a kid, I played recorder and then I played flute and then I played piccolo and then I can play clarinet and I can play piano and now I play guitar. And so I think with sound bowls, I think I just am an instrumentalist and it's an instrument.
Yeah.
Give me an instrument and I'm gonna make a beautiful sound.
Yeah, that's impressive because it's not easy to do. It's pretty challenging, so that's awesome. I can't, I'm the guy who can't even whistle, so let alone like...
Wait, so you can't do the bowls?
No, it's hard. It's hard.
I just feel her being forced having me interested in this person who she doesn't care about and never would. Jay Shetty, them having to talk about things that I think she's not really that interested in or just pretending to be just because, again, she just has to distance herself so much from her previous self. Like, Lizzo was all about activism, was all about making people feel good. Now it's just all about revelations and spirituality. She's still very young, so...
My wife's a bit better than me. We have a few beautiful ones at home, but it's hard.
Oh, I can really make them sing to where your ears it gets like really loud in your ears and you're like, whoa, 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 whoa. Is somebody in there with like a bowl in my head? That's how it starts to feel sometimes.
Well, I need to come to one of your ashrams if I'm allowed. Yeah.
Oh my God. We're going to open up Ashram to everybody very soon.
I love it. That's it.
Like the Asrams things is from her old time, but even that's kind of a little ill-fitting for what they're talking about. Because that could be interpreted as offensive. Like Asram.
Fun. And Lizzo, I know you're huge into astrology, right? Like that's something that you're really passionate about. I was wondering, have you ever had a conversation with an astrologist that really changed your life? Something they said that just shifted everything.
Yes. Channy Nicholas is my like astrologer. And so like every eclipse season, I'm texting her. I'm like, hey, happy eclipse season. What's happening? But I've had knowledge of my sign ever since I was a little kid. Like, so I was super into crystals and like, oh, I'm a Taurus and like my dad's a...
I don't believe that. Crystals were not even really a thing in her childhood. They're recent. This all feels so like a PR person just spoon-fed her the Talk on the Jay Shetty podcast. This is so damn forced and she doesn't even sound like she knows what she's talking about.
Libra. My mom's a Virgo and like compatibility. But then as I got older, when I met Channy Nicholas, she taught me about the chart and how like you're more than just your sun sign and how you're big three, but it's like you're more than your big three too. You got these
Like, she sounds like she's rattling a script she memorized. And admittedly, she is pretty good at faking the enthusiasm, but I can see it.
Asteroids that go through, and you've got these like.
We're gonna see her. Her next big gigs are gonna be playing at corporate events, like Microsoft for their launch of their new AI product.
you've got the rock, you've got everything. Your Venus matters, your Mercury matters. That really reframed how I think of myself because it kind of opened me up to being like, oh, I'm the universe. Like I contain multitudes. Like if I see a Taurus trait that doesn't resonate with me, is there a Gemini trait that resonates with me? Is there a Virgo trait that resonates with me? And I think the most impactful thing I learned from her lately is that we have like.
I believe the close to the truth is after her lawsuits, she retreated and was like consulted psychics to see if there was anything better going on for her, and that's maybe how she got into this.
House years. And so 2023, I was in a 12th house year. And that's the year of hidden enemies. That's the year of shadow work. And once she told me that, it like really unlocked for me because I was like, oh, that makes sense. And then she was like, you're going into a first house year.
You mean basically everybody in the industry turning their back on you once they realized that, you know, you weren't as lucrative as possible, your music wasn't producing, and that you're a nasty, mean hypocrite?
External level, how I like make them internal, you know, how I reframe my membrane and rework the nuts and bolts in my brain and like make it like my life. Like right now it's a routine, but I'm gonna make it a lifestyle. And I'm gonna get really cerebral with my Virgo moon, and I'm gonna get really meticulous, and I'm gonna get really in the paint, like hard working, because that's what that Virgo is. That Virgo allows me to like work my ass off, and that's where I really shine, and that's where I'm really the most happy. When I'm working, honestly.
Yeah, I'm a Virgo, so I was like, oh yeah.
I feel like, again, self-help has made such a resurgence recently. I feel like she's just trying to like join the Mel Robbins like kind of people.
We're related a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And I love how you're describing it. It sounds like you're a phenomenal astrologer because I feel like there's such a deep way of knowing how to use it, right?
Yes.
It's not just something that I think for all of us who've been exposed to astrology since we were young, it was like, oh my God, it knows me, it's predicting, it's this, it's compatibility, but it's so much more. It's like,
Right.
how are you using it for personal growth and self-growth? Like, how do you use that as, okay, this is what I'm going to focus on?
Well, first of all, I used to be like, oh, it's what I am, and that's why. But it's not like, oh, I am a Taurus. It's I have Taurus, which
I feel like that's like her subtly saying, oh, I was mean and everything because I'm a Taurus, then now I'm not trying to be that anymore. Remember that was a trend a while ago? It's like people on TikTok saying, oh, I can't help being this way, I'm a Taurus, I'm a Leo, I'm a whatever.
I think gives it a little bit more purposefulness, and it makes it a tool. So I'm like, how can I use my Leo rising right now? Big hair, big personality, big identity, big bold expression, color, fire. How could I use this fire right now? Because that's what I have right now. And then when I'm in Virgo, how do I use this earth? How do I use this knowledge? How do I use this quest for knowledge, this hard workingness, this steadfastness? How do I use that? How do I use the private parts of myself and protect the private parts of myself? I think that is how astrology has been very helpful to me because it's not just like what I am. I don't just like settle for it. I'm not like, oh.
She used astrology to think, oh, how I acted and it was not really my fault. Okay, I'm good. I'm a good person.
Oh, well, that's why, because they a Scorpio, that's why. No, it's like they have Scorpio, and that's what they're choosing to do with it. I have Taurus, and what I'm choosing to do with it is be ruled by Venus. I want to be all things beauty and love, you know what I mean? With a little bit of sprinkle of hard work.
Yeah.
And, you know, gluttony. Little gluttony.
I love that. I love the way you're talking about astrology. It's so refreshing because obviously you're so deep into it. And I think and it sounds like that's similar to why last year you said, I'm taking a gap year, I'm going to protect my peace.
Yeah.
Was that part of it, to know that you're in that house year? Like that was giving you that sense as well?
Man, once I learned what a 12th house year is, it did kind of make sense. Because I'll fight against closing up and isolating. I'll fight against it because it was like a toxic trait that I had when I was younger. Like I would get, and mind you, I already told you I've been crying a lot lately. So if
She's trying to be so relatable that she'll just keep everything vague and be like, oh yeah, I had this toxic trait. And again, all of the verbiage she uses is just so damn TikTok influenced. I'm like, she needs to get her head out of TikTok. It's like, oh, people are like, she's like, oh, I was like this because I'm a Cancer, I'm a whatever and everything. Oh, my toxic trait. I'm like, can you please, like she's so desperate for the time when TikTok was boosting her that she can't help but use that as a tool again. Come on, it's about to get banned. Me personally, I gave up on it in early 2024. I was like, I don't need this anymore.
If I cry, it's not because I'm sad. I'm real sensitive lately and googly eyed. But when I was younger, instead of expressing myself, I would lock up and get really quiet and shut down and just like hold it all in. And I went to a point where I didn't speak for like a whole summer. And when I was younger, I didn't talk to anyone. I didn't talk out loud. The only time I used my voice was at night and I would sing to myself and that was it. So I thought that that was a really toxic trait and I have been working on expressing myself. So when you see me online, that's a form of expression for me that I've worked to get to. When I talk to the people who I work with, that's a form of expression that I worked really hard to get. When I express myself to my friends and my family and my loved ones, I've worked hard for this. Kind of like a industry standard that I think we've forgotten like what it means to be on cycle and off cycle because everyone's always on. I had planned on being off cycle. That means you're not in the media, you're not doing interviews, your album cycle is done, like you're not gonna be.
Oh, when I disappeared because of the lawsuits and stopped talking and gave a really bad response, that I was gonna go anyway, so it was no big deal.
Played on the radio as much because people aren't working your records. You're not going to be promoting anything because you're working on the next album. So you can be on cycle and you can be back in the media and back in the press and back on tour. And I think like the best, most simplest answer as to why I'm back now is because my album's done. Like it really, this is my job. You know, I am a musical artist. I make studio albums. I put them out, I promote them, I tour them, and I do it because I'm really good at music and I really want to help people with music because I know that music has saved my life. So I know it can save someone else's life. You know what I mean? And I think that's like the most simple answer, but I think it's loaded this time because at the exact same time, I was like, I'm going on a...
I wonder if her scandal influenced her music. I don't know. Now I'm curious.
Vacation. I'm gonna be in Japan. I'm gonna go to Kyoto and be in the woods and like disappear. I also had a huge scandal come out. And I think that it looked like I was shut down or silenced or hiding when really it was like, but it's just the end of my album.
Okay, she didn't really address it. She just acknowledged it was there. And she deflects, she's like, it looked like I was being shut down. What the hell is that? No. You avoided it until you had to, and you gave a really bad response, a bad addressing of it. Oh my god. Oh no, I was gonna go away anyway. That is the worst excuse. You can't even, well, maybe you don't have enough money for good PR people. My god.
Expressing that and explaining that, because I don't think people knew or know the difference between me being like, oh, I'm off cycle, I'm in Japan, I'm in the woods, and I'm meditating. And, oh, this scandal just happened, where's Liz?
Being off cycle is no excuse to avoid not addressing a very serious allegations, which is what she did for a while. And is she gonna say sorry through her music? Sorry, not sorry? Or is she gonna use her music to explain why she was so terrible, which will probably just try to change the narrative in her favor, just like, leave it up to your interpretation, you know? It's up to you to decide. And if you think I'm explaining it and addressing the problem badly, that's your fault, because, you know, it's your interpretation, not me, how I'm saying it to you.
Lizzo. You know what I mean? So I'm aware of that, I'm cognizant of it, and I'm up for the challenge of explaining this to the people who care about me, because they deserve to know, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I think it's always an education learning about how a business works.
No one cares about you. That's why, again, you're on the Shetty podcast. Someone that previously never would have matched your brand at all. Maybe Call Her Daddy would have been a little better. Maybe. Circa 2018. Okay, this video just turned into a mukbang because my DoorDash arrived and I'm hungry and I have stuff to do after this, so... Okay, we're just continuing it like this. Yes, you're gonna see me eating, deal with it. Okay, let's continue on.
Really get it. And I think that's true for any career whatsoever, especially careers in the public eye, right? You're like, oh yeah, where did that person go? And it's like, well, the way you launch music is you need time to make music.
Yes.
And it takes that much time.
Yes.
And it's very visible because music's the biggest thing in the world.
Oh, no, BS. She's a TikTok artist, okay? She got on TikTok. TikTok artists are promoting... TikTok artists are promoting themselves constantly. Their music, themselves, whatever trend, they're on there constantly. Oh, honey, no. Lizzo ain't Jade, okay? No.
So you see someone for a few months and then you don't see them again when they're working on it.
Yes.
So you're saying that not only were you meditating, you were traveling, you were actually working on new music.
Yes.
So when you said I was protecting my peace, I was taking a break. For the last year, you were working on music. That's what we're hearing now.
Baby, the last day of my tour was in Tokyo. I spent a whole month in Tokyo and Kyoto. It was my first time in Japan. It was my dream place. I always wanted to go since I was a little girl watching anime. I took that time. I stepped foot back into America and I walked into the studio. I've been in the studio since October 20.
You're not making me feel bad. It's like, I worked so hard. I got back into the studio after my month-long vacation in Japan. See? Like, part of her big story that got her was her origin story. She was once homeless, sleeping in her car, at all. And yet... now it's like, oh, I worked so hard after my month-long trip in Japan. So, she was always very better than now.
2023. And I think I finished my last studio session for Love in Real Life last week when I mastered it. I've been working constantly this whole time. I didn't take no time off. I couldn't. I really honestly couldn't. I took that little time in Japan that I allowed it for myself. And I got in the kitchen and I rolled my sleeves up because I knew I was going to have to do my biggest one, you know?
Yeah. And the new music's great.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's awesome. And I feel like, I mean, even when you called it Love in Real Life, I feel like how much of that was inspired by what you personally had to go through and the challenges, or how much was just pulling from other parts of your life? Was it disconnected or was it connected?
Everything that I do, I pull from the strife and the grief that happens to me, because the joy that I find eventually, I think, is the helpful part. I've never named an album before.
I cannot believe she's never spoken these very broad, self-helpy-like terms. It's because she has nothing else, because she can't reference her own character, because it might then bring back to, again, her scandal, because she never had that great music to stand her legs on. And all. Somebody, interestingly, who I think, I'm surprised, the scandal was got her down and it kind of ended her career, was Melanie Martinez. I mean, I thought that because she had a big enough fan base that her career would have survived that allegation. If you know, you know. So I think it's interesting.
Before writing a song before, like, well, "Cause I Love You," I wrote "Cause I Love You." I was like, okay, this sound like the thesis of the album. Okay, we're gonna call this album "Cause I Love You." I wrote "Special." And I was like, this sounds like the heart of the album. I'm going to name this album Special. When I say I've had the name Love in Real Life since...
I've never read such a worse description of how they come to name music or create music. Which, I haven't listened to it, but now don't have high hopes. If an artist can't really talk about the emotions behind the music and the storylines and the real life inspiration, even if they want to keep details private, then it's not going to be good. And I get it, because big artists have to be more tailored with their brand image. And the inspiration behind the music, sometimes because again, they have a whole privacy to keep, because they're so very famous, you know, they're going to be a little bit more corporate. I get it. I think Sam Smith can be a little bit like that also. But still, Sam Smith has given some pretty inspiring speeches behind their music and all. Even if the details are like more kind of preserved behind like a veneer, this is just bad.
Since September, October 2023, and I didn't write the record Love in Real Life until maybe like February 2024, because I had a very specific experience, and I'd love to share it. I want to talk about it as much as I can, and I never like repeating stories because I just feel like everyone's different. I'm like, let me give you something different. But this story was so life changing.
What is the damn story? I'm sorry, I'm talking with my mouth full. What is the story? Tell us. You got nothing. She's hollow.
I told you, like, when I was in Japan, you know, I was doing the best I can, but, you know, there was a huge scandal. I was dealing with a lot. When I touched down in Los Angeles, it didn't hit me how.
If you're not actually going to address what the scandal was, then don't even bring it up. What's the point? Like, but you might as well, if you're going to be this skimpy, might as well just pretend it doesn't exist.
How deeply affected I was because I had been trying to be happy for everyone else. I had my best friend.
Oh, victim. She always was so, what's the word? Disingenuous. She plays the victim here. She played the victim when it first happened. Oh my god, attack, blah, 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 blah. I swear, the only person going to care about her is Trump now.
And was there with her kids, and I was trying to be happy for everybody. I was like, and I'm in Japan, I should be happy. So I was like, be happy. I got in LA, I had my first panic attack ever. I was in the car coming home from the airport, and I was like, something's wrong with my chest. And I was like, okay. And I've dealt with anxiety for years, but this felt different. And I was like, okay, something going on with my chest. And I was like, okay, do your anxiety.
She learned nothing. And I think secretly she's not sorry at all. Because she just thinks the world revolves around her. And she's right now giving me such classic victim. Like when someone's caught doing something, they're going to be like, oh god, I can't take this right now. This is too much. Please, not now. You're destroyed. You're giving me a heart attack. Blah, blah, blah. What are you doing to me? Look, you addressing it is causing more harm than whatever you're addressing I did. So, my god.
Anxiety protocol. And anxiety protocol wasn't working. Like breathing and the circular breath. And I was like, no, something is pressing on my chest. And I had this thought. I was just like, everybody hates me.
And Jay Shetty, I mean, he was always a terrible interviewer, but not really interviewing. It's just more, I guess he uses interviews for like inspirational messages like his Instagram posts. But well, I guess maybe she's on Jay Shetty because he's the only one that wouldn't at all, that would comply with probably what her PR team sent over. Probably.
Everybody hates me for something that isn't true, but at the end of the day, because of the position I'm in, everybody.
She just slips to their mug.
By the way, that wasn't true. That wasn't true at all. No, don't listen. I'm like, just say it wasn't true. I mean, maybe her lawyers, her advisor, she can't outright say it, but she's trying to slip it in. She's like, I'd have more respect if she just said, it didn't happen. It was unfounded. It was a conspired attack. And then say why. We know she's lying, but I'd have more respect for her. Because right now, she's giving very much she's like, basically, sorry, not sorry. Like, oops, I'm toxic. Haha, it's cute. Buy my music.
Everybody hates me, and there's nothing you can do about it. And I was like, okay. I got into the house. I could barely walk. And I collapsed by my bed and was like, oh shit. I couldn't breathe. And I was like, and I was by the bed and I couldn't breathe and something was pressing on my chest. And from then on, I had been in a state of depression because I didn't know how to fix it. I was so...
You didn't want to confront that you had to either say sorry and own up to it or deny it. Because she's so full of herself, she denied it and people were just like, all right, bye. There's other artists that we can shake our asses to on TikTok. Like that's hard to find. I'm actually curious. Let's do a quick talk here. Hypothetically, if there were something really terrible to come out about Chapel Roan, would she survive it? Would she survive? Well, she's a white woman. But Chapel Roan is a white woman, so she has that advantage. But she's also a lesbian. She is queer. Lizzo has a big queer audience, but Lizzo is not queer. I don't know. I'm not sure. Me personally, I think Chapel Roan's music is a little bit better than Lizzo's, but I'm not a fan of either.
Oh, and I'm not trying to make nobody feel bad for me, but man, whew, baby.
I'm not trying to make anyone feel bad for you, and yet you go into so much depth about what it's like to have a panic attack, which would be a natural reaction because you were caught. Here's an image idea. Do a collab with Drake. There's rehab. Image rehab.
And I was scared of people. I was like, you can't trust anyone. You can't love anyone. I don't want to talk to nobody. you know, because there was like a lot going on where like people were getting weird phone calls from people, and it was like weird like stuff going on that I had never experienced before, because I was like, this is wild. This is a whole nother level of my job that I've never experienced. And so I was scared, and I was like, I'm gonna go to this concert because I really wanted to go to the concert. And I was like terrified to go. I was like, I know I'm gonna walk out and somebody's gonna look at me and be like, and you know, I was just like, and there's nothing you can do about it. But I went anyway. And man, when I say it was the opposite, I walked out and
Every detail in their life matters so much and somehow is important to their final point, when really they're just trying to draw it out and bore you so then you'll give up trying to press them. So when you like say narcissist to a narcissist, what were you doing that day where I suspect you did this? They'll be like, oh, I went to the post office, I waited in line, there were 8 people in front of me, it moved slowly. I'm like, okay, what about the night of it? Hey, and they'll be like, hey.
and I just seen so many people look at me and they were like, Lizzo. They were like, oh my God. They were like, come here, I love you. And it was just people in the crowd. And I was hugging them and they was hugging me. And I'm telling you, like, they were like, yes. They were just like.
She sounds like such a, like, what is it? Such a very typical white blonde 2015 LA girl influencer. Yeah, life is crazy and all. Like, you know, I've talked to some people. Like, isn't that crazy? She's got nothing. She's crying. She's just empty. Her eyes look so empty.
Your fear, you got outside. You can trust people again. You can love people. People do love you. You're okay. And you know what? There's something you can do about it. And you did it. You stepped outside. And I was like, this is the only thing that's real. You can't get this kind of love on the internet. You can't. You absolutely can't. And I thought I could for years.
Oh, wow. Blaming and hating on the people that made you famous. Oh my God. Wow. I can't believe it. Yes, you can. You were most loved on TikTok. Now what? What happened? Oh my God. And now you're just trying to distance it. It didn't matter. Like, what is your new music like? The audience are trying to go after her. Are they going to like this stuff? I don't know. She'd have to then be female Morgan Wallen, I think, to have a successful album then.
The validation of sharing myself and being myself with the internet and being embraced and being shown love. And I was like, this is love. No, love is in real life. And I felt it from
She's just rambling, but that's a pretty bad scandal because she's basically just the people that looked up to her for being body positive, for showing off her body and being unapologetic. She's now saying like, oh, those people never mattered.
I won't even say they're fans of my music, just people. Oh, it was the most life-saving thing.
So people who aren't fans of your music are now more important than people who were fans of your music. Is that because they haven't turned on you yet?
Form of validation is coming from social media or coming from your phone or coming from a text back or coming from a dating app. It's not going to fill you up like being in the real world and building community with people and getting over your fear of it, because it is scary.
Yeah.
And so I've held that title. And I was like, I wrote like 4 Love and Real Lives until I finally settled on the party stadium version. I said, why is this one so lit? Like, I wrote these deep.
It's interesting that the former self-love queen now wrote an album about getting love from other people. Just ironic.
Emotional ones. And then I wrote this one and was like, well, that's Liz.
And like what did it look like when you woke up? What did you do that helped? Who supported you? How did it look?
Man,
Because that's hard.
I inadvertently set a lot of boundaries at that time, and it was more like defenses, because I was so afraid of people that, even the people that I was close to, I set up these boundaries, and I disappeared into myself. I'm not even gonna sit up here and lie and be like, I handled it perfectly. I didn't.
I don't get how Jay Shetty can just have these, video is an hour and 20 minutes long, can listen to these people and not at all be curious about what really happened. Give us events, times, places, names. I'm like, it just general stuff for an hour. I don't know how this man, no wonder his eyes are always so wide like this crazy. Maybe it's just because he's just always just in a daze of like confusion because of the vague stuff.
I didn't.
It was very messy. And I was hurt by people that I loved, and I hurt people that I loved at the time. And I'm talking about the depression period. I'm not talking about me as a boss. I'm not talking about work. No, I'm talking about October 2023 to now. And I fought really, really hard
For myself.
Her sad crying voice is so fake. It's terrible. Ugh. Like, come on. She can't act. Huh, good, okay, well, we know she's not pivoting to an acting career. She can't act.
And sometimes when you fight, it get real messy. I was scrapping. I was fighting for my life. There was times when it was like, you want to die? Okay, well, just die. Like, nobody will care. And I was like, oh, I'm talking to myself like that? When did this happen? I'm like, love yourself. I'm like, stay positive. I'm like, no, you have to live. You have to live for your mommy. You have to live for the... And it was like, no, bitch, you want to die? Die. Like, this is the time to do it. Because no...
I don't want to like poke fun or make light of someone's very serious mental health, because even if you did something bad, you know, having unaliving ideations should be taken seriously. I do think a lot of these celebrities, it's just a passive thought that they're actually trying to pass off as legitimate unaliving attempts or seriously considering it and all. And I don't like that, because I think it cheapens the issue.
Nope, everyone will hate you and nobody cares. And I think that defensiveness isolated me really bad. But there's something about isolation that turns into solitude, that turns into introspection, that turns into I am sitting alone with myself and I can finally see her. I was covered up by so much that I couldn't see myself. I was blinded by, you know, all these people in my space telling me who I am. I was blinded by my career.
She was a big artist. She wasn't that big. I don't think she had like the best kind of team the industry could offer, to be honest.
Standing on stage and 20,000 people saying, I love you, you're amazing. I'm like, okay, thank you. Like, I gotta push through. And I was never alone. I was never alone. Even when I was at home, I'd be like, you want to come over?
So far, it's just a half hour of what it's like to feel so guilty of, I was once super famous and now I'm depressed, wah, 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 now my fame has a different kind of flavor to it. Jesus Christ. Like, I didn't like her music before. I didn't like Lizzo the person before from like 2019 to 2022. But I can say, you know, at least she helped make a lot of people feel confident and created a lot of fun for people and all. So, and I mean, you know, the TikTok trends, people were shaking, having a good time to her music, okay? So it's like so shocking to see her just make everything about herself rather than like what her music did for people. Maybe the reach wasn't far, but she had an impact for a moment. So
let me throw something. Let me throw a pool party. Let me have people come over and drink wine. Like, maybe it was a fear of being alone with myself. Maybe it was a lack of self-awareness. But in that isolation, where I think my defensiveness had pushed off and pushed away the people I love the most, I pushed them all away. I got to like sit with this person and I saw the things that other people saw sometimes that aren't the coolest or the nicest or that I'm the most proud of. I'm like, you're moody, you're uncomfortable. You forgot who you are. You forgot why you're here. And
now she had lost weight, so she's basically a different person completely. So, did she still forget who she is?
I think that during that time, I embraced that part of myself. It's like, okay, you're moody, be in a mood, but what do you need to do to make yourself feel better in that mood? And what can you do to protect yourself in that mood and protect others? Sit by yourself, bitch, read a book, learn how to finally consistently meditate, exercise. get some fresh air, get in the sun. And it was like I forced myself to do that shit. That shit is not easy. I didn't want to exercise at first. Hell nah. But
So she's tying exercise and weight loss to some spiritual self-discovery thing. I mean, maybe that could be true, because yeah, I think some people do use it as like a means of like some kind of meditation. But I think just more, if her old fat positive self wasn't doing it, you know, why not get the chance to finally get a healthier body? I think like she did want for quite a while, but just couldn't. Okay, I had enough. It's now halfway through of this, and I think we get the point. The other categories are the same as what she's been talking about. Oh my god, this is going to do nothing for her. Well, let's hope the music good is catch on possibly TikTok's still around, Instagram Reels, or YouTube Shorts.